All right, Mr. Dotis, you need that breakout prior to.
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't able to interview Mr. Ramirez. I'll leave it up to Norris and the jail staff on how best to go about a breakout room.
He's on the way to courtroom 3 right now.
Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you, Deputy. Good afternoon, Mr. Walker.
Good afternoon, Judge Mincy. How are you?
I'm good. Are you going solo today, all alone?
No, I have a little bit of help. I have ASG Jordan Reiser. She's making a special appearance for position 9. And then
Okay.
I have ASG Dustin Young, who is also on the line with us this afternoon.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, there he goes. Okay. I see your help is on the way. There we go. All right. Are we ready to start?
I believe so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Regina Mincy. We're going to begin our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. And this is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after the arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused the cases of the offenses brought against them, and the case has been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so we are able to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, and consideration of a possible plea offer if one has been made by the state at this juncture. I'll be providing you with a reset date for SAP, and that date is
May 11th.
okay, May 11th. All right, and I want to begin by reminding everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being live streamed as well, live streamed on YouTube as well as being recorded. I want to remind the defendants on this calendar that you do have certain constitutional rights. The first one being that you have a right to representation at this juncture in your case. You all should know at this point who your attorneys are. You also have the right to remain silent. Remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, and the occurrences of your case can and will be used against you. The solicitors are here and they are listening. So govern yourselves accordingly and listen to your attorney. All right, who do we have first, Deputy?
Position 1, Mr. Ashley. And before we start him, Officer Norris trying to get in Zoom. If you can let him in.
Oh,
Courtroom
okay.
3.
And Your Honor, additionally, in relation to position 1, that was I don't want to say a dual arrest, but there was 2 defendants arrested in this incident. Position 1, who is Jamal Ashley, and also position 6, Joshua Kraft. So I don't know if you want to do those sequentially back to back, but I did want to make you aware of that.
Okay, since those facts will be the same.
Correct.
Correct.
And Your Honor, both of those positions will be conflicts for our office. I'm not sure if they had a chance to be interviewed by a conflict attorney at this time.
Yes, Your Honor. We decided we're going to represent ourselves right now at this point in the case.
You can speak for yourself, Mr. Ashley.
Judge Mincy, we don't have a conflict attorney for today.
We do not.
No.
Okay. If they want to go forward and represent themselves to receive a bond, then we can do that when I get to them, Mr. Dotis. And which one are you representing, Mr. Dotis? Position 1?
Your Honor, we actually represent the alleged victim in a separate matter, so they will both be conflicts.
Oh, both of them are conflict. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I'll see, Mr. Walker, if they're both willing to represent themselves. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
But it looks like we'll take them back to back. All right. Position 1 is 23 CR 002659J. Jamal Ashley. You're charged with 1 count of battery. The offense date is April the 28th, 2023. Pretrial.
15 total. 2020 FTA, 2019. He got a few FTAs from 2019 and probation violations. 2018 burglary conviction. 2016 forgery in the first degree, first offender. That's it.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor. In this incident, the victim, whose name is Maxie Adams, was located at the 5 Points MARTA station when he called police. Upon arrival, law enforcement did speak to the victim, who advised that the defendant, Jamal Ashley and Joshua Kraft, were two complete strangers, and they were also restaurants at a Binky's restaurant, which is a close by establishment. The victim, Maxie Adams, was unfamiliar with these defendants, and that it was a random act of violence. He is unaware as to why they attacked him, but the officer did observe a laceration on his nose, a swollen jaw, and a swollen wrist. The officer was able to pull the CCTV, I believe that's the Marta surveillance footage, and did corroborate the statement that was provided to law enforcement by the victim. For Mr. Jamal Ashley, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Maxie Adams, and a stay away from all MARTA.
All right. And Mr. Ashley, are you going to represent yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand the consequences of representing yourself,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you're willing to do that to go forward for today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I usually ask if you want to make a statement or say anything, be very careful, because these statements can and will be used against you. How old are you?
Ma'am, I'm 29. I turned 30 later on this year. I've been home for 4 months. I've been working, proving myself, changing my past. Like, I would appreciate it if you could please consider me for a signature bond. I'm a full-time employee. I'm a kitchen manager. I make salary. My past really don't define me.
All right, and you're full-time employed, and
Yes, ma'am. I'm a kitchen manager at Binky's.
do you have family or relatives here?
I have 2 children who stay with their mom. My mom, she stays here, but it's just me.
All right. Any thing else, Mr. ASG Walker?
I was asked that the court would take note of the multiple FTAs on the defendant's criminal history, and there is some concern for the safety of the victim, as the defendant pointed out, he works at a nearby restaurant that's approximately 2 blocks from the 5 Points MARTA station. But other than that, no, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I am going to order that there would be a $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Maxie Adams. And I'm going to order a stay away from all MARTA while you're on bond. So if you use MARTA to get around, you'll have to figure out a different way or use ride shares or Ubers or things of that nature. But definitely while you're on bond, to stay away from all MARTA, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Position 6, Mr. Kraft.
This is 23 CR 002663E, Joshua Kraft. You're charged with 1 count of battery, April 28th, 2023. Mr. Kraft, you wish to represent yourself,
Yes, ma'am.
and you understand there are consequences to representing yourself, to know the law.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you're still willing to go forward? All right. Free trial?
He wasn't on my bullshit. Oh, you said Kraft with a C. I'm sorry.
Yes, Kraft.
Thinking K. My bad.
Oh, okay.
This is 8th arrest. He got history out of Louisiana, New Orleans, domestic abuse, battery, ag assault, criminal damage to property, another ag assault. Those appear to be open. In Atlanta, possession of marijuana. I got a 2021 arrests, possession of marijuana. Got a 2021 domestic abuse, battery, extortion, and the ag assault from 2021, along with the criminal damage to property, and the 2018 ag assault. and a 2018 fugitive from justice arrest.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm not gonna repeat the facts as I just stated them, but I will
Right.
take note to the defendant's criminal history as he has open criminal violent offenses out of the state of Louisiana. It sounded as if he had multiple aggravated assaults. I think I heard a fugitive to justice. Again, this was a random act of violence, so the state is concerned about this victim based on this defendant's criminal history and the fact that he was previously arrested for fugitive from justice. The state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Maxie Adams, and to stay away from all murder.
All right. Mr. Kraft, do you have anything that you would like to state?
Could you repeat that, ma'am?
Do you have anything that you would like to state? How old are you?
I turned 25 August 6th.
Okay, are you working?
Yes, ma'am. I currently work at Binky's during the daytime and I have an overnight security job.
Okay. Family or relatives here?
One family relative, and I'm like currently by myself working on getting a house for me and my daughter.
All right. All right, I'm going to order a $5,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Maxie Adams. I'm going to order you as well to stay away from all MARTA. Do not use MARTA while on bond. Find other ways to get around. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. All right, that'll conclude this case.
Next, we have position number 11, Ms. Kimberly McKinney.
This is 23 CR 002666Y. Kimberly McKinney, charge of 1 count of battery family violence. Offense date is April 27th, 2023. Pre-trial.
It's a second arrest. She got an FTA for theft by taking. She pled NOLO too. I forgot what year it was. I didn't type it.
Okay.
Judge Mincy, before y'all go forward, Mr. Doties is in the breakout room. So if this is his case, he's not
Oh.
here at the moment.
Okay. Sorry, Deputy. Mr. Dotis is in the breakout.
Okay, so we can go to position number 2, Mr. Leroy Bell.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not his case. This is my case, Ms. Cook.
Oh, hold on. Musical chairs, come back.
What's going on now?
It's Saturday. It's been a long week. All right, come back. All right, PD Cook.
Yes, Your Honor. So Ms. McKinney is 40 years old. She's lived in Georgia for the last 23 years. She has 4
Hold
children.
on 1 second. The state did not present, correct?
They did not.
Okay. Is this your case, ASG Young?
Yes, yes, Judge.
Go ahead.
Okay, Ms. McKinney is charged with the battery family violence. On 4/28/2023, law enforcement responded to 2788 Forest Hills Drive in Atlanta in reference to a dispute between the accused and her son. The son is a minor, he's 14 years old. The accused caused physical harm by holding Mr. McKinney down, causing visible and open lacerations and abrasion from her fingernails. Also note that, give me just a moment. The child is staying with the sister, Tiana Dorsey.
Yeah, I'm
and
here.
I believe she's on Zoom. From my understanding, defects has been involved. There has been an issue of abuse between the accused and the children, per the notes from a victim advocate. Speaking with Ms. Dorsey, I'm sure she can elaborate much further. The state's recommendation in this case is a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, and also stay away from anywhere the child might be.
The address that Hold on a second, please. I have not asked you to speak yet, Ms. Dorsey.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, be
Okay.
careful. You're unmuted.
The child will be staying at 3909 Campbellton Road, Southwest in Atlanta. The incident location was 2788 Forest Hill Drive in Atlanta. And we would ask the court to sound for Ms. Dorsey when appropriate.
Okay. All right. PD Cook, do you want Ms. Dorsey to speak before you or after you?
Oh, she can go first, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Ms. Dorsey, you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Ms. Dorsey, yes. Would you like to speak to the court today?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Hold on. If you do, I'm going to have to swear you in first. Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. And state your name again for me. Put your hand down.
Tiana Dorsey,
All right. How old are you?
21.
21. Okay.
Mhm.
And so you are the sister to the defendant, or
Yes, the big sister, yes.
you're her big sister? Okay.
Yes.
And you have temporary custody of the minor son?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's 14 and you're 21. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we're not going to say his name. I usually use initials for minor children. But what is it that you would like to tell the court in regard to your sister, the defendant?
The defendant is Kim. I mean, yeah, I'm not the defendant. I'm not the sister of hers. I'm the sister of the 14-year-old.
Oh, so the defendant is your mother?
No.
Okay.
I believe they have maybe the same father.
So what is
Your
your
Honor.
relationship to the defendant?
That's my stepmom.
Stepmother. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right. What would you like to tell the court?
Basically that this has been going on repeatedly, the abuse, the in and out, the back and forth with them, that this have been going on. They also haven't been in school for over a year, well, almost a year. And that I just want to basically plead the case that this is exactly what it is. And she's not been fit as a mother. She's always putting her hands on them and putting them out or cursing them or all things of that sort.
Okay. Do you work, Ms. Dorsey?
Your Honor,
I'm sorry.
this is Officer Norris in the courtroom. She has to have that young man put a shirt on in court. Yes.
Okay. Just see him in the background. Is that the victim in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. He needs to put a shirt on, but I have some concerns about that because he's 14 years old. He is a minor.
My apologies. He just got out the shower. I wasn't even paying attention.
I understand he was behind you. All right. And so are you stating that the minor child is in fear of the defendant, his mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're able to provide a safe environment for him?
Yes.
Okay. And do you work?
Yes, I actually work for myself.
Okay. And what grade is the minor child in?
8th grade. Was supposed to be in 8th grade.
And so I understand DFACS is involved. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they going to be assisting with getting him back in school?
Yeah, I talked to them. We have plans for them to make sure they can also help maneuver, take care of anything they need or whatever I need extra help with for school, like food, anything they need, extra necessities, anything, we have it in place.
All right, good. Thank you. Any cross-examination, ASG Young?
Not for the Ms. Dorsey. However, I did want to add, as part of the state's recommendation, for the accused to be compliant with any defects plans that might be in place.
All right. All right, you can mute yourself. Thank you, Ms. Dorsey. Any questions? I'm sorry, from PD Cook.
No, ma'am.
No,
Thank
I
you.
don't have any questions for her.
All right, thank you.
Oh, my bad.
All right, yes, go ahead and mute yourself, Ms. Dorsey. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, PD Cook.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. McKinney, I'm about to present your case on your behalf. I will remind you that this is recording. I would professionally recommend that you exercise your right to remain silent, okay? All right, so Ms. McKinney is 40 years old. She's lived in Georgia for 23 years. She has a total of 4 children, 13, 14, 17, and 25. Her last arrest, I know that pretrial didn't know the date, was actually in 2005, so over 18 years ago. She does, I believe that her oldest child is 25-year-old. She does receive SSI for that particular child. She's the primary caretaker for them. Right now, she it's my understanding as it relates to the factual allegations in this case, that Ms. McKinney was actually trying to intervene between the alleged victim in this case, the 14-year-old minor, and his father, her husband. And she was trying to explain that to the police when they arrived. It's also my understanding that there has been an ongoing issue with this particular child for the last 2 years, where the parents have been having issues. As you're already aware, the minor is now staying with his sister, which is the father's, Ms. McKinney's husband, oldest daughter. Ms. McKinney has no issues with complying with any sort of defects plan. She's been in the area, she has ties to the community. Our request, she does not have a significant criminal history. Like I said, she is 40 years old. We would be asking in this case for a unsecured judicial release. She does qualify for our services. She is on a limited income. We did talk about having no contact with her minor child until this case is resolved. She did not have an issue with that. As the state said, this incident, my understanding is that he is going to remain at the sister's house. So we would ask that the incident location, she not be given a stay away from the incident location, because that's not where the minor child will be. And that'll be it from the defense.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. And I don't know that I missed, did you say whether or not the defendant was working or not? I know you mentioned one child that she's a caregiver for. Does she work outside of the home and not?
It's my understanding, let me verify with her application. I don't believe she's currently working. I believe the source of income is mostly from taking care of her 25-year-old.
Okay. I am going to order a $6,000 signature bond through pretrial. And with that $6,000 signature bond through pretrial, there will be no further contact with the victim in this case, the minor son. I didn't get the initial of his first name.
I believe it's A.
It's A.
A, okay. AM. No further contact with him. A stay away from that Campbellton Road address, which I believe is where he's going to be residing. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm gonna order the 1-day anger awareness course through pretrial, and to be compliant with any defects, plans, or instructions for this case. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the state.
No,
All
you're
right.
good. Thank you.
All right, that should conclude this case.
Position 15, Ms. Frog.
All right, thank you, Ms. Dorsey. This is 23 CR 002670D, Wendy Schwall. Charged at 1 count of criminal trespass and 1 count of willful obstruction. A law enforcement officer. I have the offense date is April the 28th, 2023. Free trial.
First arrest, resident of Florida. And he has a Gainesville hold for trespassing, but it's no extradition.
Okay,
That's it.
all right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. On that day at the incident location of 1544 Piedmont Avenue Northeast, it's the Ansley Mall. I think it was at a Starbucks at this location. Law enforcement were dispatched in regard to a trespass reported. They spoke with security, who stated that the accused was asked to leave the property. She refused. Law enforcement spoke to the accused, advised her that although she may not agree with security decision to make her leave, it is private property, and she had to leave the property. However, she failed to do so. So an officer attempted to detain her. She kept tucking her hand away and shifting her body, pulling her hands away, interfering with the officer's attempt to detain her. So the state's recommendation is to go with the preset $2,000 bond, $1,000 per each count, and to stay away from the incident location.
All right. PD Cook.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Scholl is, she, like pretrial said, she doesn't have any criminal history in Georgia. I believe she only has 1 prior arrest, the one pending in Florida. She is a widow. She was previously married for over 25 years. She's been in the Georgia area for the last 3 years, I believe. She is residentially challenged, Your Honor. She doesn't have any source of income. She has applied for SSI, still waiting to hear back. Any bond amount in this case will be the equivalent, Your Honor, to no bond. She's not able to financially pay anything. We would be asking the court, based on the charges, they're not so severe that we should keep her in Fulton County Jail without being able to get out for unsecured judicial release. She has completed high school. She's fully aware of the situation. She's 61 years old, I believe. So yes, we'll be asking for unsecured judicial release in this case, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. That's $2,000 on each charge. I'm going to order a stay away from 1544 Piedmont Avenue Northeast, which is the Ansley Mall and or the Starbucks. Stay away from that location. Hopefully you all will be able to get her some assistance through your office. The social worker. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that is it. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right,
Nothing from
thank
the
you.
state.
Okay.
Your Honor, sorry to interrupt, but is there any way we can do position 9, Mr. Nehemiah Jackson? ASG Riser is here specifically for him,
Okay.
if possible. Thank you.
Deputy, can you bring us number 9? Mr. Jackson,
Yes, Your Honor.
thank you.
Go to the second row.
Thank you, Deputy Norris.
Go to the second row. Not you, ma'am.
Your Honor, if he's represented by our office, it would be
Is that Mr. Dotis'
Mike.
case?
They request him. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Apologies, I didn't realize he was still gone.
Oh. Mr. Dotis is not back yet.
No, Your Honor.
Apologize, Deputy Norris. We're playing musical chairs again.
okay. Are we ready for position 2? Mr. Bell?
I am. I'm not sure if that's PD.
Can we do that, PD Cook?
I have position number 10 and position number 12.
Oh, you only have 10 and 12?
We can do that.
I know. Thank you, Deputy.
Mr. Mathis.
Right. We appreciate your flexibility here.
Yes, ma'am. Position 10.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0026667E. Is that Kenneth Mathis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you charged with 1 count of reckless conduct, 2nd count of discharge of a firearm on or near public highway or street, 3rd count of public drunk, and 4th count of disorderly conduct, all with the offense date of April 28th, 2023. Pre-trial?
5th arrest, 2017 possession of marijuana, 2011 simple battery. I think the other arrests were dismissed. That's it.
Okay. All right. ASG Young?
Yes, Judge. This incident occurred on April 28th at the 99 Cross Street. So law enforcement were patrolling this area when they were flagged down in reference to a report of a man discharging a firearm in the parking lot. Law enforcement observed kids and adults running away, pushing, trying to exit the area. When law enforcement located the accused, Mr. Mathis, he was observed entering a white Dodge Charger with a black handgun in his hand. Once cuffed, law enforcement noticed an odor of alcohol coming from his person, and he had slurred speech. The accused was being aggressive while in the backseat of the patrol car. Law enforcement were able to review a video of the incident that showed the accused retrieving the firearm from the vehicle and discharging it. The state does have some serious concerns in this case, given the extreme danger to the public, including to the children that's in the area, discharging the firearm while under the influence of alcohol. So the state's going to recommend a bond much higher than normal, up to $20,000 reckless conduct, $15,000 for discharging the firearm, $5,000 for the public drunk, and another $5,000 for the disorderly conduct, for a total of a $45,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and to stay away from the incident location.
All right. PD Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mathis is 39 years old. He's lived in Georgia all of his life. He's completed 3 years of college at Payne College in Augusta, Georgia, where he was studying education. As it relates to his criminal history, I don't believe he has any convictions, although he does have prior arrests. He does have a total of 4 children that he takes care of, ages 4, 11, 19, and 23. The 19-year-old is currently in college, a sophomore at Georgia State, and he's helping to put her through school. The 23-year-old is a senior at GGC, finishing up in the fall. He does have significant ties to the community. He volunteers with a local traveling baseball program, Beast Mode Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. He's currently, he does have significant ties, Your Honor, to the area. Although that we're not here to address the actual allegations, we do understand the severity of the charges. He does actually have a concealed weapons permit as well. So this situation clearly was just a poor mistake or lack of judgment. We are asking the court, because he is employed. He does have, he's associated with the movie industry, and he's currently doing construction when he's not working in the movie industry. So to keep his employment, to be able to still provide for his children, we are asking the court to order a more reasonable bond in this case. And I do apologize, Your Honor. On my information, we only saw the reckless conduct. I do see on the calendar, he has the additional charges. We will be asking, Your Honor, for a reasonable bond in this case. He of no more than $1,000 total.
I didn't hear you when that went out.
I'm sorry, no more than $5,000 total.
All right, I'm going to order a surety bond. I'm going to order that surety bond amount to be $25,000. And I'm going to break that down, Ms. Bridgewater. And I'm doing the math here real quick. On the reckless conduct, that will be $10,000. On the discharging of the firearm, that will be 10,000. And then 2,500 on the other two. Is that 25?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So that's the breakdown of the 25,000. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And a stay away from the 99 Krog Street location. All right. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Position number 4 is next.
How much was that?
25,000, 10, and then 2,500 on the other two.
And Your Honor, did you say no weapons, drugs, or alcohol? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure. I will say that again. No
Thank
drugs,
you.
alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
And Your Honor, I believe counsel for position 9 is back whenever the court's inclined to take that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Position number 4.
Okay. This is 23 CR 002662G. Is this my interpreter's case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Este es el caso 23CR002662G.
Hold on 1 second for me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, interpreter, I will swear you in. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you affirm to interpret? And I didn't ask Spanish to English, English to Spanish.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
The proceedings of this case and with no embellishments and to the best of your ability.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you. All right, and this case is with Rafael Brito Ramirez, charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence. That offense date is April the 28th, 2023.
Este es el caso de Rafael Brito Ramírez con un cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, con el incidente ocurrido el 28 de abril del 2023.
All right, pre-trial.
Los servicios previos al juicio, por favor.
Second arrest. Last arrest was 2007. I guess by ICE or Border Patrol, one of those arrests.
Este es el segundo arresto. El anterior ocurrió en el 2007 y creo que fue por el Departamento de Inmigración o a un tipo de otra vigilancia inmigratoria.
That's it.
Eso es todo.
Okay. State.
Yes, Your Honor. In this incident, police responded to 880 Briarcliff Terrace.
En este incidente, la policía respondió a una llamada en el lugar de el 880 Briarcliff Terrace.
As a result of the victim's children's school reaching out to law enforcement.
como un resultado de los niños, la escuela de los niños de la víctima llamó a la fuerza del orden.
The victim, Miss Brenda Ramirez, reached out to the school of her children to contact a translator to ask for help.
La víctima es Brenda Ramírez, quien llamó a la escuela para obtener a un intérprete y poder pedir ayuda.
At that time, the school did contact law enforcement.
Y en ese momento la escuela contactó a la fuerza del orden.
Upon the arrival of law enforcement, they did speak with the victim. who was
En
visibly
cuanto
upset.
I'm sorry, sir. Go
Did speak
ahead.
with the victim who was visibly upset and shaken.
En el momento en que llegó la policía, habló con la víctima, quien se veía inquieta y temblorosa.
She stated that her husband, Rafael Ramirez, became verbally abusive and then eventually physically assaulted her by pulling her by the hair and pushing her.
La víctima dijo que su esposo, el señor Rafael Ramírez, la abusó verbalmente y también la agredió tirándole del cabello y empujándola.
She also advised that they have been together for a decade. This is the first time he's been physically abusive, but he has a history of being verbally abusive throughout their marriage.
Ella dijo que han estado juntos por una década y es la primera vez que él ha llegado a convertirse en abusador físico. Siempre ha sido abusado, ha cometido abuso verbal anteriormente.
She has concern for her safety along with the safety of her children.
Ella teme por la seguridad de misma y de sus niños.
The state will be asking for a $3,500 surety bond on the simple battery family violence.
Y la fiscalía pide una fianza bajo garantía de $3,500 por el cargo de golpes y lesiones y violencia familiar.
No further contact with the victim, Brenda Ramirez,
No tener más contacto con la víctima Brenda Ramírez
and to stay away from 880 Briarcliff Terrace.
y que se mantenga alejado de la dirección 880 Briarcliff Terrace.
Nothing further at this time.
Nada más en este momento.
All right. Mr. Dotis.
Señor Dotis.
You're muted, Mr. Dotis.
Oh, you're muted. You're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. As one quick aside, Mr. Ramirez does not qualify for the services of our office, but we will be here to handle his bond hearing today.
Quisiera anunciar que el señor Ramírez no cumple los requisitos para recibir un abogado de la Oficina de Abogados Públicos, pero lo estaré representando en esta audiencia de fianza hoy.
Okay.
Mr. Ramirez is 32 years old and has spent the last 12 years in Georgia.
El señor Ramírez tiene 32 años y ha pasado los últimos 12 años en Georgia.
He has two brothers that live in the area and an aunt.
Él tiene 2 hermanos y una tía que viven en el área.
I do have an address separate from the incident location that I'm happy to put in the chat for where his mail can go. Additionally, Mr. Ramirez will be living away from the incident location. He doesn't have the exact address at this time, but he will update the court when he has that.
Yo tengo un domicilio diferente para que se le envíe toda la correspondencia al señor Ramírez. Él va a vivir en una residencia separado, pero en este momento no tiene la dirección correcta y él se hará responsable de entregarle la dirección correcta nueva de él al tribunal.
I also have a contact number for Mr. Ramirez, as well as a contact number for Mr. Ramirez's brother, Javier Brito, who lives in the area.
Tengo un número de contacto para el señor Ramírez y del hermano que se llama Javier Britos y vive en el área.
Mr. Ramirez currently works at Ali Taco, as well as McCrae Tavern, both restaurants, where he says that he can continue working and provide for his family.
El señor Ramírez trabaja en el restaurante Oli Taco y en Taberna McCray, y también él dice que él puede continuar trabajando si él sale para poder mantener a su familia.
Mr. Ramirez is the sole provider for he and his wife, the alleged victims' 3 children.
El señor Ramírez dice que él es el único proveedor financiero para su esposa y los 3 hijos,
including one child with special needs who's nonverbal.
y especialmente para uno de los niños que tiene una discapacidad y no puede hablar.
I was clear with Mr. Ramirez that while he maintains his innocence, there could be no further contact with the alleged victim and a stay away from the incident location.
Y también le aclaré muy bien al señor Ramírez que mientras él mantiene su inocencia, él no puede tener contacto alguno con la víctima y tiene que mantenerse alejado de la dirección en donde ocurrió el incidente.
And because there are shared children with the alleged victim, we would ask for the ability for a third-party transfer of the children to ensure that Mr. Ramirez can continue being a part of their life and provide for them.
También debido a que hay niños, queremos pedir que se otorgue una parte tercera para que provea el transporte de los niños y él pueda continuar visitándolos y proveyendo para ellos.
And as stated by pretrial, Mr. Ramirez only has 1 prior arrest. It looked like no convictions, no FTAs, and no VOPs.
Como lo dijo el señor de la Oficina de Servicios Previos al Juicio, él tuvo solo un arresto anterior, no hubo ninguna sentencia, él no faltó en comparecer y tampoco tuvo ningún otro cargo basado relacionado con la violencia.
And for all of these reasons, we would request a signature bond so that Mr. Ramirez can be an active part of his defense and continue providing for his family.
Entonces, lo pedimos por todas estas razones que se le otorgue una fianza bajo firma al señor Ramírez para que él pueda continuar siendo una parte activa trabajando en su defensa y también continuando con la provisión financiera para su familia.
Nothing further from defense, Your Honor.
Nada más de parte de la defensa, su señoría.
Okay. I'm going to order the $3,500 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from 880 Briarcliff Terrace. I'm going to order that the defendant will have no further contact with the victim, Brenda Ramirez, no further contact with the children in this case either. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Yo ordeno que se le otorgue una fianza de $3,500 bajo garantía, una orden para mantenerse alejado de la dirección 880 Briarcliff Terrace, una orden de no tener más contacto con la víctima Brenda Ramírez, no tener más contacto con los niños tampoco, y se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
All right, anything else, counsel?
¿Algo más, licenciado?
Nope, I
Nothing
think
for
that,
defense, Your Honor. Thank you.
Eso
all
es
right,
todo.
that concludes this case. Thank you.
Okay. Aquí termina este caso. Gracias. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank
Have a
you.
good evening. Bye-bye.
You too.
Position 12. Okapu.
How much was that last one?
3,500 surety.
Oh, I wrote that down. Sure. Okay.
I'm sorry, Deputy. What did you say?
Number 12.
Oh, 12, okay. This is 23 CR 002669D. I believe the last name is that Okakpu. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence. Offense date is April the 28th, 2023. Retrial.
Yeah. 21 total. He has an open case on Odyssey. It's a 20 MAGC. It's what is it? 4 counts of obstruction, 1 count DUI, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. He got an open Superior Court case, criminal damage to property, simple battery, 22 CP 207588. DUI, reckless driving, 20 CR 002318Y. That might have been a MAGC case. Out of Brunswick, I see obstruction, trespass, 2012 robbery conviction, 2022 trespass and obstruction. That's it.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred April 28th of this year at 105 Copton Park Drive in Roswell. Law enforcement were dispatched to the incident location in reference to a domestic reported. While en route, law enforcement observed a male matching the description of the accused. They spoke with the accused, who stated that he and his father got into a verbal altercation when his father began filming him with a phone, so he knocked it out of his hand, striking him in the pinky. Upon speaking with the victim, he stated that he began filming when his son became irate and angry. His son knocked the phone out of his hand, striking him in the pinky area. The state does have some concerns, as the victim in this case is the same victim from the 22 CP 207588 in Superior Court. And also the victim has advised us that the victim is the Walter Akakbu. He advised us that he do not wish for his son to return home unless he is going directly to a facility first. That is what the altercation was about getting him some help about a treatment facility in Alabama. So the state's recommendation in this case is a $6,000 surety bond, stay away from the incident location, no further contact with the victim, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right. PD Cook.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Okapu is 31 years old. He's completed his highest level of education is 3 years at Morgan State University, where he was studying computer science. He's been in Georgia for about 25 years. Occasionally he does, his father has his own business, Function Aviation, where he occasionally works. The alleged victim in this case is Mr. Okapu's father. It's my understanding that he is planning and wants to go to rehab in Alabama, Teen Challenge, and that there is a bed available. He was actually supposed to report today, but obviously cannot because he's in custody. We will be asking the court, Mr. Okapu he's not, besides the work he does for his father, he doesn't have any other source of income. We did talk about not being able to go back to the incident location, and he said that would be fine because his plan is to go to Teen Challenge, which is located in Alabama, if that would be okay with his bond conditions. So we are asking the court for some sort of, I know he has a lengthy criminal history, Your Honor, but he also doesn't have any income. So any surety bond would essentially equate to no bond for him in this case. So we would be asking the court for maybe a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services to allow him the opportunity to still keep his bed at Teen Challenge.
And also, Your Honor, if I may, briefly, I do want to note that the defendant is currently out on a $6,000 surety bond for the felony case in Superior Court. And we would also ask the court to sound for the victim, Mr. Walter Akaku, when appropriate, if he's on the Zoom call.
Okay. Is the victim, Mr. Cockboo, on the call, on the Zoom? All right, don't think he is. All right, I'm going to order the $6,000 surety bond. And with that $6,000 surety bond, there will be a stay away from the incident location and no further contact with the victim. I believe that's Walter Akakwu. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Position 2, Mr. Bell.
This is 23 CR 002660D. Leroy Bell, charged at 1 count of theft by taking, 2nd count willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Offense date April 28, 2023.
44 total. He got a theft by taking, trespass, obstruction, in Superior Court. 22 CP 214776. 2019 identity theft conviction. 2018 giving false name, theft by taking, obstruction conviction. 2014 theft of lost mislaid property, NOLO. 2011 escape conviction. 08 ag assault, obstruction, felony, theft by receiving conviction. That's it.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 3286 Myrtle Street. Upon arriving at the scene, they did speak with the victim, whose name is Emily Powell. She advised the officers that she did look out her window, observe the defendant, Mr. Leroy Bell, take her weed whacker off her front porch. At that time, the officers did canvass the neighborhood. They were able to locate and identify Mr. Bell. He did attempt to take off running, but they were able to finally detain him. At that time, he was arrested on the above listed charges. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety on the theft by taking and a $1,000 surety on the obstruction. Of course, no further contact with the victim, Emily Powell, and a stay away from 3286 Myrtle Street.
All right. Mr. Dodas, PD Dodas.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Bell is 64 years old. He is a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia. I do have a good address for him that I attempted to verify with his sister and left a message. It is the address listed in Odyssey, so I don't think it'll be an issue reaching him or sending him any court notices. As stated, he does have 2 sisters, so he does have family living in the area, as well as children who are grown in the area. Mr. Bell made it to 11th grade. He's currently on disability and trying to look into ways to augment that with work. Because of his disability and his low income, Mr. Bell will not be able to afford any monetary bonds. So we would ask for a signature bond. And he's clear that there can be no further contact and a stay away from the incident location.
All right, and this was just random. There's no relationship or any.
No, there's no
With the
relation.
victim.
And the victim did state that at the time of the incident, she was home alone with her children. Her husband was not there, so she is fearful of the defendant as she does not know him.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm actually here if you need anything from me.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I didn't see. I'm sorry. I usually try to sound, but I didn't see you down there. Would you like to address the court, Ms. Kyle?
I actually provided 3 videos from my security systems if that's needed for anything. But I did actually
No,
open my
hold on 1 second. If
Okay.
you would like to speak about the case to me, I need to swear you in and I'd have to see you. I
Okay.
cannot allow you to. Okay,
Okay.
there you go. Would you like to address the court about this matter?
Yes.
Okay, and this is a bond hearing. This is not your trial or anything of that nature. But raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay. And you can put your hand down. What would you like to tell me?
I was just going to say that I saw the victim, the defendant walk up my driveway. And so I was wondering, where did they go? And so I actually opened up my front door and was like, excuse me, hello, hello, to see if anyone answered. And I did not have anyone. So I, of course, went back inside my house and looked out my back door. Didn't see anyone there. So he was actually hiding on the side of my house is where he was throughout this situation. So he's shown on our security cameras, like peeking through like our over fence, and I'm literally right there at my back door. He was like a foot away from me at that time. So I just, a little bit concerned about that, how close he got, to me just inside my personal house as well.
Okay. And you're in fear of Mr. Bell, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Any cross-examination, Mr. Walker?
Not this time, Your Honor.
All right. Any cross-examination, Mr. Dotis?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. You can mute yourself. Thank you, Ms. Kyle, for your time. All right. And anything else, counsel, before I rule?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Again,
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. I am going to order the surety bond in the amount of $2,500. That will be $1,500 on the theft and $1,000 on the willful obstruction for a total of $2,500. I'm going to order stay away from 3286 Myrtle Street. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Emily Kyle. I believe that was her last name.
It's
And no
Kyle
drugs.
with a P.
Oh, Pyle, P-Y-L-E. Okay. This Pyle. And
It's actually, it's Powell.
Powell.
uh-oh,
Yep.
we're
good.
all wrong.
That's
Help
okay.
us there. Sorry about that. All right, Powell, P-O-W-E-L-L. Thank you. No further contact with Ms. Powell. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else?
Nothing from the state.
All right, that will conclude this case. Thank you.
Position 3, Mr. Brandon.
This is 23 CR 002661F, Joshua Brantley, charge of 1 count of forgery in the 1st degree. Offense date April 28th, 2023. Pretrial.
11 total. 2022 burglary conviction. 2020 probation. 2020 possession of a controlled substance conviction. 2011 possession of a controlled substance arrest. I think it says he's a resident of West Virginia. That's it.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the law enforcement officer was dispatched to a Regions Bank here in Fulton County due to a bank teller reaching out to law enforcement because the defendant, Mr. Joshua Brantley, was at their local branch trying to cash a check in the amount of $1,360. The bank teller found the check to be suspicious. So at that time, she did reach out to the account holder that the check was made out from. The account holder, whose name is Miss Susanna Leonard. The victim in this case did advise the bank teller that the check had been stolen and it is not a check that she had issued. At that time, the bank did contact law enforcement. They did respond to the incident location. Mr. Brantley was taken into custody for forgery in the 4th degree. We are asking for a $2,500 surety bond to that charge. No further contact with the victim, Miss Susanna Leonard, and a stay away from all Regions banks within Fulton County.
Okay. All right. PD Dotis.
thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brantley is 35 years old. As stated, he does have, I think, 11 cycles out of West Virginia, which is where his father lives. I didn't hear any convictions, I don't think. Apologies if I'm wrong on that. Mr. Brantley was living in the state of Florida where he has significant family ties, passing through Georgia. back to his father in West Virginia, who I've contacted about the situation. And I believe his father will provide support, even though Mr. Brantley does not have ties to the area. But he is clear that if released, he will need to report to court and provide a good mailing address to make sure that he reports and we don't lose track of him. Mr. Brantley made it to the 10th grade and is currently on disability. And because we don't believe at this time that he could financially afford a bond, we would just ask for a signature bond.
All right. I am going to order a $2,500 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Stay away from all Regions Bank in Georgia. And no further contact with the victim. Is it Susanna Leonard?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, and that'll be it for the ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 7, Mr. Goodwin.
This is 23 CR 002664G, Demetrius Goodwin, charged with 1 count of no insurance, 2nd count willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, 3rd count driving hit and run, duty of driver to stop at or return to the scene of an accident, and 4th count of driving while license suspended or revoked, all with the offense date of April 28, 2023. Pre-trial.
Good one. 25 total. Got an open misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Open battery DV out of the cab. 2019 FTA probation. 2018 FTA given false name conviction. 2017 disorderly conduct possession of marijuana conviction. 2016 possession of marijuana no load. And
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. In
Okay.
this case, GSP initiated or attempted to initiate a traffic stop with the defendant, Mr. Goodwin, due to his tags being run and the vehicle coming back with no insurance. Initially, Mr. Goodwin did slow down. However, after he slowed down, he then accelerated. After he accelerated, he actually jumped out of or abandoned his vehicle, if you will, and took off on foot. At that time, the car was still in drive and ran into a fixed object on the property of Marta. The officer was able to dispatch backup. They were able to canvass the area around the Capitol. They were able to detain the defendant, Mr. Goodwin. At that time, he was booked or arrested for no insurance, obstruction, hit and run, and driving without a suspended license. The state will be asking for a $1,500 surety bond on each count for a total bond of a $6,000 surety. That is based on the defendant's lengthy criminal history. And we also will be asking for the condition of no driving without a valid license while out on bond.
All right. Mr. Dodas.
Mr. Goodwin is 37 years old and is a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia. I do have a good address for him. It is the address listed on Odyssey and the booking report. He also has significant ties with the area. His father lives here, as well as his partner, Miss Rhonda Lowe. I have phone numbers for both, as well as his father's number being listed in the booking report. So I don't believe that contact in the future will be an issue. Mr. Goodwin has achieved his GED and is currently working with Atlanta Peachtree Movers, where he believes that he can continue working if released. He understands the court's concern with driving while maintaining his innocence, and he's clear that one of the conditions will be no driving without a valid license, and any other driving conditions this court would see fit to ensure in the safety of the community. Again, Mr. Goodwin cannot afford a monetary bond at this time, so we would request a signature bond.
Okay. I'm going to order a $4,000 surety bond. And that will be 1,000 on each of the charges. I'm going to order no driving while on bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. That should be it. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. All right, who do we have?
Position 8, Mr. Henderson.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0026688A, Chad Henderson, charged with 1 count of simple battery. The offense date is April 28, 2023. Pretrial.
6 total. On probation, possession of marijuana with intent. 2017 suspended license, 2016 DUI, and 2012 no driver's license. That's all I got.
All right. State.
Yes, Judge. On April 28, 2023, law enforcement, while patrolling the area of Far Road and Piedmont, observed the accused, Mr. Henderson, punched the victim, Mr. Danker, in the chest with a closed fist. The state's recommendation in this case is to just go with the preset $5,000 bond. And Mr. Danker, from my understanding, is he was arrested on an unrelated charges, so we'll not be needing to sound for him. But we'd also request that the accused stay away from the defendant and not be anywhere the victim is likely to be.
All right. Mr. Dodos.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Henderson is 37 years old. He is a new resident of the state of Georgia, moving here 4 months ago, along with his partner, Mr. Kenneth Thompson, who I've spoken with, and I believe he is on the Zoom. He was earlier, I'm not sure if he still is, as support for Mr. Henderson. Mr. Thompson also lives in the Atlanta area, and will provide support for Mr. Henderson as needed. We do have a good address for Mr. Henderson, as it's the correct address on the booking report and in Odyssey. Mr. Henderson's clear that if that changes in the future, he needs to update that with the court. Mr. Henderson attended the University of Tampa studying criminal psychology, which he wants to finish some soon in the Atlanta area. He's currently working doing gig work, including catering, while he works on funding a delivery startup he's working on, I believe with his partner Kenneth Thompson, to assist the elderly and disabled, something like Grubhub or Uber Eats. He wants to establish that in Atlanta, so I do think he's establishing ties in the area, will not be a flight risk. Mr. Thompson is working on doing everything he can to assist Mr. Henderson with bond, but my understanding is that that might be an issue at this time, and so we are asking for a signature bond.
All right. And you stated that Mr. Thompson or is it Tompkins or Thompson?
I have Kenneth Thompson, if he's here.
Yes, Mr. Thompson, are you on the Zoom?
If you could, he might be Zoom user, I think.
Yes, I think that.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, can you turn your camera back on? Okay, and now just unmute yourself with the microphone. See the little, is it a red microphone possibly?
Did I do it?
There we go. Okay,
Okay.
yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. Mr. Tompkins, do you wish to address the court, Mr. Thompson?
No, I'm here for support, just to show
Okay.
support.
Support, okay. All right. You can mute yourself back. I am going to, now I did not hear, was there a recommendation? And I think this incident location was just Far Road in Piedmont, just sort of a random location. Was there any stayaways or victim, no further contact or anything?
Yes, Judge. State request no further contact with the victim, Jordan Dankert. In the warrant, the officer listed 3004 Piedmont Road Northeast in Atlanta. But again, he was just patrolling and observed this, so I believe this may have just happened outdoors near this location.
Okay.
We're also asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right.
And Mr. Henderson is clear on the stay away.
Okay. I'm going to order the $5,000 or continue with the $5,000 surety bond. And again, that stay away from the 3004 Piedmont and no further contact with the victim, Jordan. Is it Dackert?
Yes, Your Honor, Dankert.
Dankert, okay. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. All right, that should conclude this case.
And Your Honor, if just one last matter for that address, I don't know if Mr. Young knows, is that a certain landmark or is that a building that we can be sure Mr. Henderson knows to avoid if there's a stay away?
Give me just a moment and I'll check.
Okay.
Just to confirm so that there's no issues.
Okay.
I believe it's the convenience food market at that location.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
No problem.
All right, nothing else. That'll conclude this case.
Position 9, Mr. Jackson.
All right. Position 9, 23 CR 002674H. Nehemiah Jackson. There are 20 charges. Is everyone clear on that?
Something like that.
I know. And I guess I will read them. And understand that the calendar has 19, but there's an additional one that was left off, which number 20 is driving in an emergency lane. First charge, reckless stunt driving. Second charge, or let's see, the next two charges are racing, and then racing, reckless stunt driving, racing again, reckless stunt driving again, racing, reckless stunt driving, and then a fourth time of racing. And racing, driving, improper erratic lane change, racing again, reckless stunt driving, racing, reckless stunt driving, and reckless stunt driving. And then that driving in the emergency lane. So those are the 20 offenses with this case. Pre-trial?
Third arrest, 2023. He got an open case in Gwinnett, cruelty to children, ag assault, and the FTA.
Okay.
I didn't pull the driver.
Okay.
I have the driver's history, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, ASG Riser.
Thank you, Judge. Before I get to his driver's history, I'll go ahead and make our state's recommendation. He is currently at a $1,500 surety on each charge. That's for a total of a $30,000 surety. I'm asking that the court increase that to $2,500 each charge for a total of a $50,000 surety. If the court's not inclined to do so, then I would ask that the bond remain as set at a $30,000 surety. The state is also asking for the additional conditions, including a 24-hour curfew, that the defendant be placed on an ankle monitor, that the defendant shall not be allowed to drive, have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and have no contact whatsoever with his 3 co-defendants and/or associates. I have those names for the court, and I also put them in the chat, Your Honor.
Okay.
That would be Trevante Jefferson, Tariq Gallion, and D'Angelo Cruz.
Okay.
Your Honor, in regards to his history, you did hear he does have a open ag assault out of Gwinnett, an FTA. And I'm also showing he had something out of Florida. I think it was a simple possession that was null-prost back in 2014. In addition to his criminal history, his driver history also reflects a 2017 reckless driving conviction, a 2016 speeding 67 and a 35 conviction, a 2015 conviction for speeding 60 and a 50, 2014 conviction for speeding again 103 and a 70. Your Honor, these charges stem from incidents that have happened between February 1st, 2023 through February 26th, 2023. The defendant and his 3 co-defendants or associates have engaged in multiple races and stunt driving at or around Buford Spring Connector in Fulton County. The defendants, including this defendant, the video themselves racing on the highways and the streets in Atlanta, and then upload them to YouTube. The defendant is seen on YouTube, his own YouTube channel, on his own videos, multiple times racing with 3 other vehicles, Your Honor. We are asking for this bond. As the court, I'm sure, is aware, APD is working endlessly and tirelessly to control the street racers that have been going on. It's been in the news. It's been all over the media, Your Honor. You can tell by the amount of charges in this case that these facts are egregious. This investigation has revealed numerous videos prior to this incident, subsequent to this incident, with this defendant and his co-defendants street racing. So we're asking the court to not only take the seriousness of these cases, but how many charges there are for racing each individual race, and set a bond that the state has recommended in $50,000 surety, or at minimum leave the bond as set at $30,000 with all of those conditions the state has outlined, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Dotis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson is 30 years old and a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia. I didn't hear any convictions in pretrial. He does have an open case in Gwinnett that he maintains his innocence on. I do have a good contact number for Mr. Jackson. I also have a good contact number for his partner, Miss Chanel Bowers, who I have been in contact with. I also have a good address for Mr. Jackson, and that address is listed on the booking report as well as in Odyssey. So I don't think there would be an issue with Mr. Jackson failing to receive any court notices. He also has significant family support, including his aunt Annette in the Atlanta area, who I do have her phone number with. Mr. Jackson received a bachelor's degree in Jacksonville State in emergency management. He's currently working. His last job was with working in warehousing with Amazon, and he's currently looking into getting his trucking license. He does. Even if there are any driving conditions, he believes he will have no issues getting to court thanks to friends and family. So I don't think there'll be an issue with him missing any court dates. Mr. Jackson does maintain his innocence in this issue. I haven't had any time to review any YouTube footage, and I'm just going off of what's in the affidavit. But Mr. Jackson is clear, and I know this court is clear on how serious this court takes driving charges. And he understands that and will comply with any and all driving conditions that this court sees fit to ensure the protection of the community, as well as any other conditions in order to allow Mr. Jackson to effectively be a part of his representation while remaining out of custody. I spoke with Ms. Bowers, who is working on his bond. We understand the seriousness of these charges. At this point, we just asked the bond to remain at the $30,000 surety, which I think is $1,500 for each count. I've been clear on that with Ms. Bowers, and she's working on that. So we would ask the court to leave it as is, and any other conditions related to driving, Mr. Jackson is clear or a possibility.
Are there any conditions right now in the existing bond on driving, or just the amount?
I believe it's just the amount, Your Honor, and that's why the state is asking for those additional conditions that we had previously laid out. Just given the egregiousness of this case, Your Honor.
Okay. And then what is does Mr. Jackson work?
So as I stated, his last job was with Amazon in warehousing. He was currently in the process of trying to get his trucking license. Obviously, with bond and these being driving charges, he's clear that driving conditions could be in place that could affect that. At this point in time, I'm not sure if he can go back to the warehousing job, but he is clear that the trucking could be affected.
Okay. I am going to leave the bond at the 30,000, which is 1,500 on each of the charges, but I am going to add on the additional conditions. And the first condition will be the ankle monitor. Second condition, no driving. Third condition, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And as far as the curfew, I'll make that curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So if he goes anywhere, he'll have to obviously get a ride.
Who paying for the ankle monitor? But they be wanting to know that in records. Is it the county or him?
Him.
Okay.
He should pay for his own ankle monitor. Thank you for that. Anything else, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. I would ask the contact provision with the the 3 other individuals that the defendant engages in races with. And those names are in the chat, Your Honor.
Yes, you stated that. I apologize. And no further contact with the other defendants, which are Trevante Jefferson, Tariq Gallium, and D'Angelo Cruz. No further contact with them. All right. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing on this, Your Honor. I would just like to let Mr. Jackson know that I have been speaking with Ms. Bowers, and it's my understanding that she is currently en route to the jail to assist with bond. So we are working on that for you, Mr. Jackson.
All right. That should conclude this case.
Position 13 and 14.
Thank you. And Your Honor, that does conclude my business. May I please be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You as well, Judge.
Thank you.
Thirteen and 14, Mr. Ragland.
All right. 23 CR 002672F. With Mr. Ragland having been charged with 1 count of simple battery on April 28th, 2023. The second case, 23 CR 00272673F, charged with 1 count of theft by taking. That offense date April 26th, 2023. Pretrial?
I defer to the state. He wasn't on my pull sheet.
Oh, okay. State, do you have his criminal history as well?
Let me see. Yes, Your Honor. I have 11 arrests. There is a FTA from this year, a theft by taking, simple battery. I believe that's these two cases. Criminal damage from 2022, simple battery, family violence 2022, VOP FTA 2020, violating of a family violence order, but that was no prost. I'm saying a conviction for interference with government property, simple assault, 2016, and a VOP from 2021. I'm gonna start with the 426 incident.
Okay.
So officers responded to 2794 Narron Court in Atlanta. And from what I was able to gather, there wasn't a lot of information, but the accused allegedly stole a dog from the victim in that case, Tanika Scott. So there's already a $2,000 surety bond set. The state's just going to go along with that recommendation. Stay away from that incident location and have no further contact with Tanika Scott. We have not had any contact with her, but we'd ask the court to sound for her when appropriate. And for the second case that happened at the same incident location on April 28th, yesterday, law enforcement responded to the incident location in reference to a fight reported. Upon arrival, they spoke with the accused, who advised that he had been in an altercation with the victim, Mr. Cadovan McGee. I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing that. And he advised that they had got into an altercation because the victim had told the accused that he had been masturbating in the garage. So law enforcement was able to speak with the victim in this case, and he stated that the accused showed up to the incident location where he then slapped him and placed a heavy object on his foot. In that case, there's already a $5,000 surety bond that's been preset. The state's going to go along with that. And again, no further contact with this victim. Stay away from that incident location. I'm unsure of the relationship between the two. I've not had a chance to speak with Mr. McGee neither.
Okay.
I believe that's all from the state.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Dotis?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ragland is 23 years old. He has lived in Georgia the past 4 years. I'll get into the address in 1 second. He does have significant ties to the community with his mom, who is regularly in Atlanta, but she does work in trucking, so she does travel a lot. Mr. Ragland is expecting one child on the way that he intends to be a part of their life and provide child support for. He made it to the 11th grade, and he's currently enrolled to get his GED at Atlanta Tech. It's an interesting case with this address at Narrow Court. That address belongs to Mr. Ragland's mother, Miss Jennifer O'Neill. Mr. Ragland went to that address because they run that address as an Airbnb. And Miss O'Neill confirmed the address to me and wasn't aware that Mr. Ragland was in custody until I spoke with her earlier today. She's currently out of the state on one of her trucking routes, but did confirm that address is her property and they run it as an Airbnb. So if any bonds are issued, we would ask that there be no stay away address upon confirmation from a sheriff's escort that Mr. Ragland can return and that it is their property. After speaking with Mr. Ragland, he received, and I know this isn't clear in the arrest, so we would need to do more investigation. I don't want to get too bogged down in the facts, but this was an Airbnb, and the two alleged victims were staying in that Airbnb. And Mr. Ragland informs me that Airbnb canceled their reservation and they refused to leave, which is what led to both of the incidents. And I guess things allegedly escalated based on them refusing to leave, based on my understanding. And Mr. Ragland didn't know what else to do since Airbnb told him it was his issue. So we would ask for a sheriff's escort to confirm that. And again, like I said, mom confirmed that, and that confirmed that Mr. Ragland was living there. So my understanding is that neither AV lives there. It's just an Airbnb. I wish we had more issues. It doesn't sound like, it sounds like he was just trying to have them leave. He wasn't trying to take a dog or anything. But we understand that those facts will need to be brought up down the line after further discovery from the state and defense. But at this point in time, Mr. Ragland understands there's a separate FTA case that he'll have to deal with. But on these two cases, we would ask for a signature bond to ensure that Mr. Ragland can handle that FTA and then deal with these cases. And again, our only condition would be there be a sheriff's escort to verify that Mr. Ragland is a legal occupant of that location.
Okay. For the first case, April 26th, I'm going to continue with the $2,000 surety bond. Stay away from that 2794 Naren Court. Have no further contact with the victim in that case. Is it Tanika or Tanisha? Whichever way it's spelled. No further contact with, is it Tanika Scott, I believe. And so that will conclude the first case, $2,000 surety bond.
Is that position number 13, Your Honor?
14.
14, thank you.
And then for position 13, that will be the $5,000 surety bond. And no further contact with the victim in that case, Mr. Pandovan or Pandovan McGee. And I'm sorry, 14, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Same thing with this case, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I believe that stay away is from the same address. Anything else, counsel?
We would just ask if that stay away could be lifted, if we could have a one-time sheriff's escort.
And the state would ask for that to remain in place. The mother is not here, or the mother of the accused is not here to confirm or further explain. And if they're refusing to leave, it sounds like that may be a civil issue. So we'd ask the court to impose that stay away.
All right, I will keep the stay away, but I will allow a one-time sheriff's escort to return to the property to retrieve any personal items that Mr. Ragland may need, but he may not reside there. He needs to stay away otherwise. All right, counsel.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, that'll conclude this matter.
Your Honor, could you go over the bond again? I'm so sorry, but I didn't hear them.
Oh, that's okay. The first, position number 13 is a $5,000 surety bond. And position 14 is a $2,000 surety bond.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And position 16, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah. This is 23 CR 002671A, Michael Wilson, charged with 2 counts of cruelty to animals, offense date April 28, 2023. Pre-trial.
I'm counting something.
Oh, okay.
This is 4th arrest. Previous 3 come out of Ohio. December 2016, criminal damaging or endangering. That just shows as an arrest. Another December arrest, trespass conviction. And before that was a 2000 theft conviction. That's it.
All right. State.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1111 Oakley Industrial Boulevard. Upon arriving at the scene, they did speak with a Miss Dana Rainey. She advised that her boyfriend, Mr. Michael Wilson, became upset because there was not enough food prepared for him to have seconds. She explained to him that she had 2 juvenile children that she was also responsible for feeding. The children were also present for this incident. At that time, Mr. Wilson did become irate. Apparently, Miss Rainey had just purchased 2 small kittens for her children around the time of this incident. At that time, Mr. Wilson picked up the 2 kittens and slammed them into the wall in front of the children. As a result of that, the 2 kittens did die. Therefore, he has been arrested and charged with 2 counts of cruelty to children. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond on each count, totaling a $5,000 surety bond. No further contact with Dana Rainey, and to stay away from 1111 Oakley Industrial Boulevard. And the officer did note that the children were upset and hysterical due to this incident that they witnessed.
All right. Mr. Dotis.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wilson is 46 years old, and he has spent the last 3 years in the state of Georgia. Before that, he was in Columbus, Ohio. He did provide me with a good address in Decatur, Georgia, which I'm happy to place in the chat or send to whoever to add that to make sure he gets all of his mailings at the correct address. It's separate from the incident location. Mr. Wilson is clear that he cannot return to that incident location, most likely depending on bond conditions. He does have ties to the community. His sister, Annette Wilson, lives in the Atlanta area and will be offering her support to Mr. Wilson. I have a good phone number for her. He also has a sister in Columbus, Ohio, where he lived previously, who I've been able to speak with, and she provided me with the sister in George's number, and they're both aware of the situation and providing their support to Mr. Wilson. He currently works at Material in Motion as a Google tech, and he currently still has that job and believes that he can return to that upon release. At this point in time, Mr. Wilson cannot afford bond on his own. His sisters are going to keep working on it, but we would request a $1,000 surety bond split on each count, so a total of $2,000 surety bond to allow Mr. Wilson to be a part of his defense if released, and nothing further from the defense.
Okay. I'm going to order the $5,000 surety bond, $2,500 on each count. I'm going to order stay away from 1111 Oakley Industrial Boulevard. No further contact with the victim, Dana Rainey, and her children. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I don't know, does he need an escort back to get any personal items from that property?
Your Honor, my understanding is that he was living there full time, so we would ask for a one-time sheriff's escort.
Okay. So one-time law enforcement escort to return to the property to retrieve any personal belongings. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that will conclude this case. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
That'll conclude the calendar because I don't have no more.
I have 5. Was that something that got out? Let's see.
Release.
Yeah, 5 was released.
5 was released. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Judge, we
right.
can keep going. We could just keep going.
Okay.
Wait, who? Ghost?
Yes, that's it in courtroom 2. Y'all can keep going if you want to.
No,
Okay,
they can
but
keep
you're
going.
leaving
I'm about
us.
to go.
Okay, so should we go over the calendar? So is everybody ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. All right, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be May 11th. Position number 1 is reset to that SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 2, SAP calendar with a total $2,500 good bond. Position 3, I had it now. I'll come right back to it. No
25
problem.
good. I got
25.
25 good.
25 good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, position 4 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $3,500 good bond. Position 5 is reset further notice as the defendant was released. Position 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Position 7, SAP calendar with a total $4,000 good bond. Position 8, SAP calendar, $5,000 good bond. Position 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $30,000 good bond. Position 10, SAP calendar with a total $25,000 good bond. 11, reset further notice with a $6,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a $6,000 good bond. Position 13, SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Position 14, SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 15 is reset further notice with a $4,000 total SOB through the jail. And position 16 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $5,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Nope, that will do it. Everyone enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes, you too.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thanks. Take
All
care.
righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.